Good morning. Blessed Sunday morning. Question. What is one of the simplest, easiest, but kindest things a family member can do for other family members or even for friends? Back in 30 seconds. Good morning. Hi, this is Jan from New York City. Yes, and the clock is in the background. This is Jan from New York City, and my channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. Good morning. Happy and blessed Sunday morning to all. I start my day with a sip of coffee. Love, love, love. Do you have yours with you? I hope you do. Mm-mm-mm. I hope that this wonderful Sunday finds everybody doing well. This is actually the Sunday before Christmas, and I know everybody's busy in one way or another. Even if you don't celebrate it somehow, we're all just busy, busy, busy people. Now, just to say, in answer to the question, what is one of the nicest things that we as family members particularly can do? Share our family recipes. So that's what this morning's show is about. And if you're interested, great. Hope you stick around for it. I have a couple of submissions, and in this case, these are recipes that either came from a grandma or from a past grandma, the person's grandma, or they themselves are a grandma. So they're in no particular order. And at the end of it, I must remember a simple trick that my own grandma left behind. And I do it to this day. And it is yum scrump delicious. You may want to consider getting a pen or a pencil or just replaying this later. So we're going to get right to it. And first of all, before I forget, I would like to thank everybody that submitted a grandma type recipe. Thank you so kindly for sharing it with us. We're going to get started with Lisa Miller, who is a channel contributor at times and a wonderful lady and a friend. So thank you, Lisa. So the name of this recipe, I'm going to call it Lisa Miller's Grandma Baker's recipe, but her grandmother called this recipe GLOP, glop. And Lisa to this day does not know the origin of this word glop, but we'll go with it. And what I love about this recipe is that it is hearty, it is affordable, and at the end of it, you just want to make it because it sounds so, so good. It is a savory dish. So if you have a pen, the ingredients are simple and definitely the cost is affordable. So in my opinion, grandma wins. So here is Grandma Baker's recipe for glop, GLOP, submitted by channel contributor and friend Lisa Miller. Thank you. Needed are fresh carrots, potatoes, green beans. Now the peas are canned and drained. The rest are fresh, and you cut and chop those. What you're going to do is you're going to boil those together, the carrots, the potatoes, and the green beans in boiling water, okay? And then, of course, you drain them when they're done. And the canned peas are going to be drained. What you're going to do is make a milk gravy, milk and flour, and optionally use some salt. And what you're going to do is you're going to cook those vegetables together. Of course, it's going to be nice. And you're going to put over that the milk gravy. Yum. This sounds like something that can be used as a side dish or as, if you really like bump it up, a main course. Who's to stop anyone from putting extra ingredients? For example, like let's say I want to make this a main dish. I would just get some cubed up cooked boneless chicken breast, for example. And it sounds like wonderful ingredients to add for a vegetable pot pie. or whatever kind of pot pie. Thank you very, very much, Lisa. This sounds so, so yummy. I have never had a milk gravy, but I will try it one day. So thank you so very, very much. Okay, next, again, no particular order. So this submission comes from regular channel contributor Sharon Jackson. She sent this to me recently, and it's for applesauce cake. I wish I could show you the pictures, but since I'm doing this live, can I do that? But just imagine a beautiful bundt pan looking applesauce cake, okay, with a glazed topping on it, okay. And another thing I had asked, I don't at this moment, I used to have a bundt pan. I don't have it right now. But if a person does not have a bundt pan, they could certainly make it as a layer cake in layer cake pan. Okay. I'll get to comments soon. Believe me, do not forget, you guys. You know I love all of you. But I want to make sure that the recipes are given out, properly and so on. Sharon Jackson's applesauce cake. Here we go. Here's what you're going to need. 2½ cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 2 sticks of softened butter, 2 cups of brown sugar, 2 eggs, 2 cups of unsweetened applesauce. Basically, you're going to preheat the oven to good old 350 degrees. You're going to grease and flour a bundt pan. You're going to mix butter and brown sugar. Then you're going to mix the eggs until combined. You're going to add 1 cup of flour, baking powder, and cinnamon. Mix well. You're going to add 1 cup of applesauce and mix till well combined. Then you're going to alternate by add the remaining flour and mix that together. And you're going to add the remaining applesauce. Now, if I'm saying this improperly for any reason, Sharon, please jump in the comments section, whether it's now or later when it's on replay, because, of course, I want to get everybody's recipe absolutely correctly. And sometimes things get lost in a translation, and I don't want to have that happen. I want everybody's recipe to be A-okay, especially since we're honoring grandmas, right? Now let's see. So basically, I have to flip over the paper. That's basically. Okay, so basically you're going to transfer this to grease and floured bundt pan. You're going to bake this off for 50 to 55 minutes or until your toothpick runs clean. Now, this is my choice. She didn't mention this, but this is my choice. You could optionally dust it with powdered sugar, or you can make your favorite type of glazy drizzle. There you go. In addition to that wonderful looking apple cake, in addition to this, Sharon submitted another nice holiday treat. And with the holidays this week, who wouldn't want it? Basically, you're going to get those small squared pretzels, the square ones. Going to top that with either Rolos, which is like a chocolate candy with caramel inside, and Hershey's Kisses. Put it on top of those squares. You're going to put it in the oven for about 3 to 4 minutes. I don't have a specified temperature on this, but at the end of it all, you're going to press on top of it M&Ms. Again, Sharon, if I'm saying this incorrectly, please feel free to correct me, because I want everything to be A-okay. So thank you for that, Sharon. Now, this next recipe comes from Brandon Neely from the Neely's Grandma's Wealth Wisdom channel. How befitting, because this recipe came actually from Brandon Neely's grandma. So thank you for that, Brandon. Brandon submitted a number of recipes, but for today, we're going to use this one. And in the future, we're going to use others as well. I didn't forget, okay, just so you know. So this one is Grandma Neely's grape salad, okay? And by the way, it's nice to, have a little bit of fruit, with all this other, sugary stuff. And what a nice break in a way. So what you're going to need for Grandma Neely's grape salad: 1 8-ounce cream cheese softened, 1 small jar of marshmallow cream, 1/2 pound of green grapes, 1/2 pound of purple grapes, 1/2 cup of chopped nuts. It's not specified what kind of nuts, but I would gather that you can, use certain nuts optionally. If it were me, I'd probably throw in walnuts if it were me, or pecans. Just saying, just saying. That's me. Everybody's different. And in addition, 1/2 cup of grated mild cheddar cheese. So what you're going to do is pour the cheese and marshmallow mixture over the grapes and the nuts, and you're going to add some cheddar cheese to that. You're going to let it sit in the refrigerator for an hour, and then you can optionally add coconut if you like to do that. Thank you, Brendan, for Grandma's recipe. Again, if there's any, thing that I left out or whatever, please update, let me know. Feel free to do that, whether it's now or if you catch this on replay later on. And I really appreciate it. Now, I don't want to forget my own grandma's recipe, but I want to make a point that's very, very important. But let me say hello to you guys. Good morning, Rose B. Good morning. How are you, dear? Happy Sunday. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Good choice. A little texture is good. You're right, Steve. I noticed that. I like to have like a little pop of chew in some things. Like sometimes when something is just all soft, it's like, wait a minute, something's missing here. I mean, the flavor might be A-okay. It might be actually yummy. But sometimes you are correct with that. You need that little pop of a chew, whether it's through a nut or a grape or whatever, or a raisin or whatever. Okay, so that's the comments for right this minute. And I want to make a point about a method. Now, how many of you love lasagna? Like, you love the flavor, it's yummy, but sometimes when we get on in years, or we're just not feeling the greatest or whatever, we have time constraints. We want the fun of lasagna, but we don't want the work of lasagna. So sometimes lasagna can be a lot of work, getting those noodles just right, doing all those layers. But what we could do is make the unlasagna. And I didn't coin it that. This comes from the Jenny Can Cook channel. This is one of the smartest tips that she ever offered in her baked ziti recipe. So I take zero credit on that. But I want to tell you something about this method. Remember this method whenever you're making baked ziti, okay? Instead of lasagna. When you're at the point where you want to enter the ricotta cheese and stuff like that, what I used to do, this was the Janet method that most of us do. You put dollops, cheese, layer, dollops. In her version, you boil and drain the noodles, and you enter the ricotta cheese while the noodles are still warm. Enter everywhere. Why would somebody do that? The answer is simple. So that every single bit of the ziti is obtaining some of the ricotta. Otherwise, there's just sections of lumps of cheese, which I like cheese all over the place. So when I tried that method of, again, I take zero credit for, I think that is a wonderful method. Once you try that method, you will never go back. Not to mention, it is a time saver. So basically, you make your ziti noodles, you drain them, okay? Right away while it's still warm. You put in your ricotta. I know it's going to look melty for a while. That's okay. Not to worry. Then you put your sauce layer on the bottom. You enter your ricotta cheese covered ziti. Sprinkle some mozzarella. The other tip, if I'm not mistaken, is to use real mozzarella, no substitutes, okay? What do I mean by that? The pre-shredded one is not going to melt as nicely or flavorful in a special thing like a baked ziti or lasagna. Get the real one in the package, okay? And there are some brands, the blocked one. That's what I mean by real one, the not shredded one. That's the one you get, the one you have to shred yourself. But the problem, of course, like everybody has, is they want to keep tasting it. I've been prey to that myself. You know, you cut a piece of mozzarella cheese, right? Let me taste some. Then you make another layer. Oh, let me cut some more mozzarella cheese. Then you taste, and then before you know it, half the mozzarella cheese is not even on your lasagna or your ziti. But try to, have a little resistance. Cut up just enough of the mozzarella cheese. Put it on the side for you. That way you make sure that enough mozzarella cheese goes on your tray of ziti or lasagna. But this is the fastest way to do it. So basically, you're mixing up the ricotta with the noodles. You're putting your sauce on the bottom of the pan, the noodles on top with the cheese, entering real mozzarella that you cut yourself on top. Then you do another layer. What I like to do, I like to make these, in advance. I call them mini meatballs. I use my meatball mixture, and I should actually share that with you maybe on tomorrow's show. My meatball mixture, except I do a miniature style, and I put it in between everything. Everything is in one pan. You could do this, make ahead. You could do this tomorrow, pop it in your freezer, and then you have it for Christmas Day. And all you have to do on Christmas Day is take it out of your freezer. You could bake this off straight from your freezer and just throw it in your oven for X number, like I guess 45 minutes to an hour with aluminum foil. You can do it. This way you're not extra stressed out. Just saying, with a salad on the side, garlic bread, you're done. Next, Galbani Belgioso. Did my reaction say it all? Yes, I hear you on that one, Steve, for sure. So remember the method of making life easier with that, and it works. It works. Next is my grandma. Now, my grandma. I only had my grandma. I had one grandma. The rest, everybody, every other grandparent, unfortunately, passed. Let me get me coffee. How's the weather by you? It's awfully gray and dismal here. Gosh, can't wait for the sun to come up. I never got to meet any grandfather, and I feel very sad about that. The other grandma never got to meet, but I did wonderfully meet my other grandma on daddy's side. Wonderful, wonderful lady. And she was very, very, very smart. She ran a grocery store, and during the Depression era, and she was widowed young, and she ran the store anyway, and was a very generous, sweet spirit, very independent person, and I really admire her. But she used to do something that a lot of people did back in the day. A lot of people, they did not waste a scrap of food. No such thing. There was no such thing back in the day as food waste. If there's anything today that bothers the living heck out of me, is the obvious food waste that I have witnessed. I have actually seen people, for example, let's say on a holiday, have a roast turkey, and they're getting ready to wrap the turkey up, even though there's tons of meat left on the bird, ready for the scrap. I'm like for the garbage. I'm like, what? Give that thing to me. I'll make 10 meals out of it. If you want it off your hands, thank you very much. I just can't see that. I just can't see that. So in my grandma's and many other people's grandmas or great grandmothers attempt to conserve and not to waste. For example, let's say that my grandmother was breading chicken, for example. And there was leftover egg mixture, a leftover fresh breadcrumb and fresh parsley and garlic. All this stuff was left over. You know what she did? I bet a lot of Italian people did this. Put everything together. So this is what my grandmother did for sure. She would take her egg mixture, her flavored breadcrumb, her leftover fresh garlic. And if you don't have fresh garlic, you could put garlic powder. Her fresh Parmesan cheese, she had that. And if you have fresh parsley, if not, you could throw in some parsley flakes. And she would put this whole thing together till she was able to form a patty from it. So you have to eyeball it. If it's too fluid, you can't do anything. Add a little more breadcrumb to it. You have to eyeball it. Good morning, country darling. How are ya? How you doing today? So what grandma would do is she would make these into little patties. This was already there. She was not about to throw it in the garbage. So what she did was put all these ingredients together, and then she would take a little bit of oil. Well, she wouldn't use canola oil back then, but I do. I like canola oil. I love canola oil. It's heart healthy, supposedly. It's definitely easy on the wallet, and it's a blank, clean slate. You don't taste extra flavors. I don't want extra flavors. That's me. So what I would do, instead exactly what grandma did, maybe she used olive oil, I don't know. But I take canola oil and I shallow fry. Nothing makes me personally cringe as much as, did you ever watch on certain channels what people do? They'll take a bottle of oil and here's the bottle, psh, in the whole pan. I'm like, what? Like, ew. First of all, ew, too greasy. I dislike greasy food. And the second ew is, what a waste of money. And the third ew is, tell me you're not going to reuse and reuse and reuse it. So instead of that, and you'll be surprised, you take a little bit amount of that canola oil, like one turn of the pan, not even kidding, and you take your little, I call them egg breads, egg bread patties, grandma's egg bread patties, put it on, watch it. They cook up pretty quickly, so you got to keep an eye on it. That is not the time to answer a phone. That is not the time to write a letter. You know what I'm saying, get distracted. So I would say just keep your eye on it, about a minute or two, flip it over, another minute or two, shut off, let it sit on the heat one additional minute because you want to make sure the inside is, nice and cooked. Yum! Leftovers, recycle, upcycle, whatever you want to call it, tastes good. Not only that, it makes for a great snack when you want something foodie, but not that foodie. And furthermore, if you have leftover shredded chicken or anything of that nature, you could put it in that mixture and you could, enter it into your patty. And there you go. So grandmas really knew what they were doing. Comments. Yes. Well, thank you, country darling. It's always nice to hear from everybody. Well, this is pretty much it for today. Hey, Tony Ann, how are you? Good morning. From NJ. Hey, Tony Ann, let me ask you a question. Did your grandmother, if if you had a grandmother you remember and everything, did she ever make those fried egg breads out of leftover breadcrumb and eggs and stuff like that? Just wondering, putting in that Parmesan cheese, if you have that with the fresh parsley or the dried parsley, yum. So I want to thank every single person for being here. I want to thank everybody for their submission of recipes. And every once in a while, I'm going to honor you guys with your amazing, amazing recipes. Does anybody have a question? How are you guys doing this Sunday before Christmas? Is everybody like settled in? You got all of your shopping done? Michigan lady, good morning. Thank you so much. Tony Ann, I had a suspicion. Grandma did that. Isn't it delicious? Tell the truth. Sometimes people make that in different shapes. Everyone's submission recipe from grandma, or if you are a grandma, looks just so good. I really appreciate it. Just a quick programming note for everyone. Did you notice that I come live at various times? There is really no fixed time for me coming on live. That's why it is essential for anyone who is a subscriber or considering subscribing to the channel, you must tap the notification bell so you get any notifications from me. Because if you're the type of person that loves to interact live, and that's one of the beauty parts of going live, I get to look at you in real time and give you a hello, a how are you, how you doing? Can't do that just on a regular video. Can't do that. Don't get me wrong. There's probably about, I don't even know how many people are watching me right now. There's probably a handful of people viewing me live, and most of the people see me on replay. But for the handful that are here seeing me live, we get to interact. If you don't get that notification from me, you're not going to go. There's no fixed time for me coming on live. Zero. So kindly, if you are so kind, tap the notification bell. that is very, very important if you enjoy live shows. Country darling, Jan, you found one of my older videos from outside there in New York City. It was like a gift. Ah, you're very welcome. You know, because things are kind of different now, if you will, I kind of don't want to be out in that too much. So I have to, for my personal health, safety, limit my time out there. This is, a densely populated area, and we all know about the elephant in the room, but I give it a few months and we're going to squash that elephant down. So thank you so much for that. But if anybody has any questions or comments before I go, I welcome them. So how ready are you for the big day? I mean, are you ready? Oh, Steve and I are going to pick out a time when we get together. We are going to do a live show on Christmas Day. Again, this ties in. Please check that your notification bell is on, and so on and so forth. Let me see who is here. Violet Henning, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you. Violet, please do me a huge favor. Please send me an instant message as to the best day and time that you and I could go live, because I know you're very far away. So let me know your available times. And that would be the week after, if you're available, the week after New Year's. Because the holidays, things are like crazy. Good morning, Lee. I love you all my life. Oh, let me see. Christmas feels a little less filled with pressure due to less people come. Isn't it amazing, Tony Ann? Tony Ann is bringing up a good point. Let's see if I could get it on screen. Tony Ann's bringing up a really good point. Christmas feels a little less filled with pressure due to less people coming. Does this sort of give us a little bit of a kind of weird lesson? I mean, I don't mean this for you, Tony, because we're all affected. But why do we need a great outside factor to help us make certain decisions? But then again, we really don't know. I understand. I agree with you. Certain pressures are gone. And Lee is saying hi to everybody because Lee is a friendly sweetheart person. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Tony, and about certain less pressures. There's it's a give and take. It's a give and take. But you know what I love? We're all getting very much more creative in how we handle interacting with friends and relatives. It's just incredible. You know what it is? When there's a will, there's a way. Well, I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone again for their submissions of recipes. And we're going to come back tomorrow with some additional stuff. I want to talk to you tomorrow about things that I have found to be extremely gratifying to me, things that I am grateful for. And it will be very interesting to know some of the stuff that you are grateful for. So we could talk about that, even though tomorrow's Money Monday. We could deviate from Money Monday once in a while and talk about other stuff. And I think I'd much rather, during this special week, talk about stuff that I am grateful for. And I hope that you could join me for that. What time will I be on tomorrow? Not at 8. I'll be on at 6:15. But please tap your notification button. Okay. Well, anyway, in the meantime, this has been Jan from New York City. Thank you so much for watching. Why? Because I really do appreciate whose time? Your time. Try to come back tomorrow for a live show. If you can't make it, you can always catch me on replay. Here I am raising a cup of cheer. And I have to tell you my 4 favorite words of all. Have a what? Have a great day.